Hi guys, welcome to Northwest Michigan Hunting and Fishing. I got a real bad itch to go bass fishing. Can't wait till summer. So today's video is just going to be basically how to do a basic hook rig, or Carolina rig, Texas rig, a couple different baits I love to use here in northern Michigan. So we're going to start out with the basic one. This is a 12-inch Berkley power bait, black, and a off shank hook. Here's your off shank. And when you're rigging up rubber worms and plastic baits, you got to determine which side is your finished and unfinished side of the bait. This right here is your finished side of the bait. This here is your unfinished side of the bait. This is the side you want your hook to pop through. So what I like to do is you take your rubber plastic worm, keep it up and down, and just go past the shank or barb on your hook. And then you're going to want to pop it through just like this. Bring it around, bring it down and around and through. I like burying my eyelets on my hooks. Now right here is where a lot of people will mess up. Either they're going to take too much worm or not enough worm, and your worm's not going to travel straight in the water. It's going to twist and look all goofy, and you don't want that. So you take your finger and you want to measure out exactly where the round part of the hook is. Put your finger there. That's how much worm you need. Then you bring it through and you hook it through. Just like this. And you want to keep it exactly or as close to the middle of this rubber bait as you can so it trails straight. Now you got that part done. All you got to do is skin hook it. Now a lot of people new to bass fishing and fishing in general don't really know what skin hooking is. I'm pretty sure most of you that watch my videos do know what skin hooking is. What skin hooking is you just bury a little part of the hook into the worm, which allows you to throw in lily pads, brush piles, rock piles, whatever you might get snagged up on. This helps prevent it. Now when this bass comes through, I'll do it from this side. When the bass comes through, he's not going to hit the front of the bait, he's going to hit the back of the bait, but this is the easier way to show you guys. He's going to come through and he's going to collapse this bait. You're going to jerk on it, which allows this to drop down, and that's plenty enough hook there to hook a fish. And if you haven't noticed, this hook is nice and straight right in the middle of the bait where it should be. It's not off-sided or anything. And also a little tip I learned is take a little toothpick and shove it through your eyelet and just clip it off real close, and that will save your baits too from traveling up your line and getting ripped more. So that's your basic hook setup for a 12-inch Berkley power bait. Another one of my favorites is I do believe these are 5-inch or 4-inch Gary Automotive Wacky style worms. This is a pumpkin seed. I like to use a small off shank hook. Basically the same principle as your rubber worm. You come through to the barb, bring it around, bring it up to your off shank. You're going to twist it in so your off shank's pointing down if it was in the water. Then you're going to want to measure out where your loop, kind of in the center of your loop, then bend it around. Try to keep it as close to the center as you can. Bring it around just like that, and then skin hook it. I caught a 9.5 pound bass. Check out the video. I'll put a link down in the description to that video. I caught him right here on this very bait right here, Gary Automotive Wacky style. As you can see, that hook is right in the middle of the bait, so it's going to trail nice and straight. And then another way you can do these, which works real well too, is this one here is a watermelon Gary Automotive Wacky style worm. and this is an octopus hook. And a lot of people will slip an O-ring on here, a plastic O-ring. I don't like the plastic ones, I use the metal ones. So you put one of those on. I'm all out of them right now. And what you do, if your O-ring's on here, you don't have to use an O-ring, but I'll explain that here in a minute. You just hook it kind of in the middle, like that. You can jig with it, you know, when it pulls through the water, it's going to do this deal. But what the O-ring does is you hook it kind of side by side, not kind of through the O-ring and through the bait. And it'll save a lot of your baits from being pulled off, you know, traveling up your line, and you won't lose as many of these. So this is the Wacky Style way to rig these. Works real well. Now our next bait is a 2-bait. I like using these out on the Grand Traverse Bay. There's 2 different ways you can rig these. You can do it just like the other baits. You can Carolina or Texas rig them. I don't know the difference between the 2 rigs. I think they're the same. But you kind of bury that hook in there. Measure it out where you want your hook to go through. Bring it through. Feel for the hook. Push it through. And just skin hook it. And just like that. And then the bass will come along, collapse that bait, and you got a nice fish. Now the way I really like using these, I like using these in the spring when the bass are on their beds, and I just take a leaded hook, and you open up the skirt, and you bring it, push it in there. This is really simple. You just keep on pushing it in there until you hit the top of the bait, and then you just push the barb through, or eyelet. Tie your line on there right there, and it'll sit in the water like this, or it'll sit flat. You just bounce it, sit there and just keep on tunking it when they're in their beds, and that bass will get so mad he'll pick it up. Just as soon as he starts traveling away with it to get it out of her bed, you hook them, and this works real well. The next one is a Strike King rodent. A lot of people use these for trailers, such as this on this football jig right here. But what I found out works real well, and I like it when they're on their beds as well as the football head jig, is you just Carolina rig it the same way you did the other baits as I showed you. Just pass the barb, bring it through, just like that. Bring it down. Make sure you make your turn on your off shank, so your off shank's pointing down. You're going to want to